Today is the last day for an important school deadline. Good evening. This is CTV News. I'm Rochelle Metzger.
And I'm Patricia Malone. Thank you for joining us. Of the 130,000 public school students in Prince George's County, nearly 3,000 have not been immunized. And that poses a big problem for a lot of families. Tomorrow is the deadline for students to get their shots, or they won't be able to return to school. Byron Scott has our story.
Well, tomorrow is the deadline here in Prince George's County for students to be immunized. There are quite a few this year who have not yet had their shots. To talk more about that, we're joined with Keisha Bullock of the school district. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Update us as to what's going on right now.
Sure. We have about 2,800 students in Prince George's County Public Schools who still require an immunization so that they can stay in school. And we're sending out urgent messages to let those families, those students know that they need to get their records updated. We want them in school. We want them to stay in school.
Now, as I understand it, there are 2,800 that have not yet been immunized. Why is that number, do you think, so high?
You know, I think that's something that the district will look at very closely. Right now, our focus has been communicating that urgent message to those students and families. And we don't think that there is one single contributing factor to that number, but it is something that we want to know. Right now, the focus is on getting that urgent message out.
And what are the shots the students need to get by tomorrow?
Basically, they are booster shots. So those are related to pertussis and meningitis. And so you need to see your healthcare provider to get those shots. And as we've done all along, provided opportunities to go if you don't have a healthcare provider. We've done that throughout the summer, opened up clinics and places for people to get those shots.
So talk about the students, parents who haven't had their kids immunized yet.
Sure.
Come tomorrow, what
Sure.
happens?
Unfortunately, they won't be able to come back to school, and that's not something that we want as a district. It's a tough decision, but we want kids in school, and so they need to seek out a healthcare provider, get those shots, bring that updated record into the school, and then they'll be allowed back into school.
Now, as of right now, it is a little after 2 o'clock.
Sure.
So is there time for them to get that done?
We believe there's time that they can get that done. They can see their healthcare provider. They can call it. They can also call the Prince George's County Health Department. There are places within the county where you may be eligible for a free immunization if you don't have a healthcare provider.
As I understand it, the health director is on leave. Is that connected to any of this at all?
We are not really talking about, it's a confidential personnel matter, so we're not making any comments about Dr. Wakwea's status.
Is there a phone number parents can call?
You should talk to your child's school. That's the best place to start. The nurse there can let you know specifically which shots are missing and connect you to a place, if you don't have a healthcare provider, where you can get those shots.
Okay, once again, thank you very much, Keisha Bullock.
Thank you.
So you guys heard what's happening right now. Today, indeed, the last day that people can have their children immunized. Otherwise, they cannot return back to school. That's the latest. Back to the studio.
In contrast, only 9 students in Montgomery County have not been immunized.
A new expansion of Maryland's domestic violence law could save the lives of many survivors. Our Latifa Majid is in Annapolis with more.
That's right. Officials are calling these new protections life-changing because 74% of domestic violence deaths involve firearms. So these new regulations can take more guns out of the hands of abusers.
In June of this year, a young woman who was 24 and had recently graduated from University of Maryland was shot to death by her boyfriend. And that case really underscores the importance of the new law where guns would be taken.
Starting October 1st, victims in dating violence will be able to receive protective orders rather than peace orders. Protective orders last longer and require the abuser to surrender firearms. In the past, a judge could only do that if the couple was married or had a child together.
A victim of dating violence today could only get 6 months of protection, but starting on Thursday, she can get a full year of protection.
According to the National Intimate Partner and Sexual Violence Survey, 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men have experienced some form of physical violence against them by an intimate partner. Now, as a part of the new legislation, victims can still receive protection from Maryland courts, even if the abuse happened in another state.
We live in Maryland. People have relationships with folks in the district, in Virginia, in Pennsylvania, and Delaware. So, or even if you go on vacation somewhere and something happens in another state, the Maryland courts would just summarily dismiss that because it didn't happen here. So now that's not the case. You can go to court and say, look, I have this relationship with this person and something happened to me even though it didn't happen in Maryland.
Another expansion to the law gives judges the power to order additional relief for victims, like health insurance or the return of green cards and other documentation that a victim needs to help stay independent.
Dating violence new law applies to everyone. Doesn't matter if you're straight or gay. The judge will not ask about immigration status.
Now, if you need more information on domestic violence programs in the area, you can call that number below. That's 1-800-MD-HELPS, and that is a 24-hour helpline. In Annapolis, I'm Latif Majid, CTV News.
Again, that number is 1-800-MD-HELPS.
The desperate search to find an elderly missing man from Bowie continues. CTV Sonia Srivastava is at Watkins Park in Upper Marlboro with the latest.
Well, that's right. The desperate search is on. Now, 80-year-old Lupin Phipps, also known as LP, was here at a picnic at Watkins Regional Park 11 days ago. He was here with the Woodmore House Assisted Living Facility. And, police are telling us that he walked away from that picnic and he walked towards Central Avenue and Watkins Park Drive, and that's where bloodhounds have tracked him last. Now, the elderly gentleman is originally from the islands and has a thick Caribbean accent. Now, earlier we did speak with Stanley Johnson from Park Police, and he tells us that officers have been out every single day along with volunteers, and they have found no traces of him. Now, last week, volunteers from the Woodmore House Assisted Living Facility and family members of Mr. Phipps saturated the area near Central Avenue and Watkins Park Drive, and they gave out flyers to folks hoping that someone would recognize him and give any kind of a tip. Now, we did speak with a worker from the facility, and this is what she had to say.
As far as we know, he went to the bathroom, and so it was just
Yeah.
not sure if he got on the shuttle bus from the park, how he got out so quick.
How upset is the staff back?
Very upset.
His family holds on to hope. Park Police tell us that the outcome in this case doesn't really look very promising. It's going on in its second week, and somebody with his condition, someone who needs medication, someone who has dementia, the outcome is definitely not promising. I'm Sonia Srivastava in Upper Marlboro. Back to you all.
And anyone with information is asked to contact Park Police at numbers 301-459-3232. Meanwhile, Prince George's police need your help locating another missing man. James Sandridge was last seen driving in the 4600 block of Quimby Avenue in Beltsville about 7 last night. The 84-year-old's vehicle is described as a silver and black Ford F-150 with Maryland tag number 380-227. Now, family members are concerned for his health because Sandridge is on medication. Anyone with information is asked to call police.
Energy companies Pepco and Exelon have filed a petition with D.C.'s Public Service Commission. They're asking regulators to reconsider their merger. The district confirms it's engaged in discussions with the companies on a settlement agreement. You'll recall the Public Service Commission rejected the $6.4 billion merger last month. Both companies will have to file a new application with regulators. The commission will then have 30 days to grant or deny the request. And you're watching CTV News. I'm Rochelle Metzger.
And I'm Patricia Vallone.